towns, small towns, a lot of them actually get benefited from our mentoring sessions. Yeah, so these are the main programs that we do. One is called Vidya, where we do skills training like the ones we are currently doing. Right now we are doing online because of COVID. Previously we used to do in schools and colleges as well. The next one is called Bodha, which is more of a soft skills training, where we prepare students to attend interviews. We work on personality development, habit making, etc. So things like time management, etc. are also taught to them. So the next program is called Spardha, where we conduct a lot of kind of small festivals either within one school or college, or we also conduct inter-college or inter-school cultural fests where students have the ability or they get a chance to showcase their talents. Could be art, singing, dancing, even dramas, etc. So, and the next program that we do is Subhash Educational Aid. So this is where we actually provide financial aid to any students who are not able to afford paying their school or college fee due to any financial circumstances. Okay. So let's continue. So yesterday we started with Excel and we kind of learned about navigation, using the basic features, data types, and how to format data types on cells, right? So today we are going to get into creating formulas. Okay, so again, formulas is a very huge topic. Okay, so I'm going to cover just the basics to give you an idea. So over that, you can actually try to learn on your own also. Okay, so the first thing that first show you is, so let me show you a feature called filters. Okay, so on the toolbar, if you go to something called data, okay, so yesterday we saw that you have this header row typically where you will have all the headings and you have data in all the rows, right? So formula is something which is only required in some scenarios. Okay, so you may or may not require to create a formula all the time. So first you need to understand whether it is something where creating a filter or sorting some sort of thing will be sufficient, or you actually need to create a formula. So first I'll tell you how to do a filter. Okay, so say for example, this is some data. Okay, let me show that one. Yeah. Okay, so for example, this is just some dummy data that I picked up from internet. Okay, so this has some data of say COVID cases across some countries. So on this header row, I can actually do a filter. So I select this first row, I go to data on the toolbar, and I click on, so there is a tab called here sort and filter. Okay, so I click on filter here. Okay, so you can see like small arrows with squares have come on all these cells in the first header row, right? So this basically gives you ability to filter out the data that is there here. So for example, if I want to see total cases, okay, if I click on this small down arrow thing, okay, you can see all the data which is there over here. So here there is something called number filters. So these filters will show you based on what type of data it is. If it is number, it will show you number filters. If it is text, it shows you text filter. Okay, so I am doing number filters and I can actually select what are the things that I want to see. Okay, do I want to see greater than a number? Say I want to see everything that is greater than say 5,000. Okay, I think all are more than 5,000. Let me change it. Okay, say I say greater than 10,000. Okay, so now you can see the data has reduced. So I am only able to see few rows of data now. I'm not seeing everything. right? So you can actually see here in the bottom. Okay, here you can see 11 of 16 records found, right? So that basically is telling you that these many have come. Okay. Okay. So now let me go to the same thing and I say between. Okay. So between say 10,000 and 15,000. Okay. So now again, it is showing me different set of data. It says 7 of 16. So on this particular filter, you can actually see how many records are there. On this, you can also do things like sum and all. Okay. So the filters are useful when you have to just look at the data. You don't have to calculate anything. Okay. So this is a simple way where you can even see things like top 10. So for example, here if I see top 10 items, okay, so it is showing me in descending order which are top 10. So there will be a lot of options here, above average, below average. You can even do a custom filter. So you can say like and less than 5,000 and higher than 200, anything like that. You can give any type of filter that you want, greater than or equal to, and or you can actually make your own combinations here. Okay. So anytime that you need to change data that is visible only for viewing purposes, filtering is sufficient. Okay. And you can filter on multiple rows. So for example, here I say top 10. Okay. And on these, I am saying, say deaths greater than 500. Okay. So you can, you are having filter on multiple columns here. So you have a filter here as well as here, right? So it will also show you how many rows you are seeing. So you can only see 3 rows. So similar way, you can put on even all of these if you want. Okay. So anytime if you just need to change the type of data that you're looking at, where you don't have to necessarily calculate and store anything, filter is enough. Okay. So you can even do a sort. So sort will basically tell you, you can do multiple level sorting the way you did multiple level filtering, right? You can even do multiple level sorting. So I can sort it based on the country or total cases. So whenever it is text field like country, it will be alphabetical order. Okay. So you can say this is like ascending order. If you do Z to A means it will be descending order. Okay. So similarly, if it is numbers, so total cases is a number, right? So you can do smallest to largest or largest to smallest. So let's do this. Okay. So it is, you can see a small arrow here again. Okay. So that means it is showing in descending order based on the total number of cases. Okay. Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. So if you want to remove the filter, so you applied some sorting, right? So if you want to change or you don't want these things to appear anymore, you can just clear. You can clear from here, or you can even, so you can see all the sorting is there. Filter is, click. Yeah. So if I click filter again, that small icon thing that was coming is gone now, the small arrows. Okay. So sort will remain. Filter is only going to remove these. And when you do a clear filter, it is going to remove whatever criteria you put. So for example, if I have put something like between 10 and 15, so I got this, right? So if I do clear, it will go away. Okay. So when you do clear, any number of filters that you have on all of these also will go off. Okay. And if you click filter again, that particular icon thing will go away. Okay. So next, let's look at some simple formulas to begin with. Okay. Okay. So I'm just zooming it so that you can see clearly. Okay. So this is one Excel sheet where there are some data is available of how much time it will take for doing a particular task. Okay. So let's say it is a kind of a project plan. Okay. So here, so the basic first things that in formulas we do are mostly number based. Okay. So things like additions, finding percentage of something, etc. Okay. So I'll show you a simple sum. So here, let me create one. Okay. So first thing that you need to do is, like I said yesterday, right? Data types are very important. So make sure that all your data types are correct. So like here you can see all of them are right aligned. So mostly all of these are numeric values, numeric fields only. Okay. So you click on a cell. Okay. And you can basically click with your mouse inside that cell whenever you have to edit any cell, right? Or you can do F2 in your keyboard. If you press F2 when you are on a particular cell, so say I've moved here and I click on F2, it will give me edit option inside that cell. Okay. So whenever I have to do a formula, the first thing that you do is put a equal to. So when you say equal to, it will understand, or it will kind of assume that you are trying to type a formula. Okay. So yesterday I showed you this, there is something called a formula bar here, right? So the first time initially when you're trying to do, the best way is put an equal to and click on this insert function. Okay, when I go to this FX 2010, it might be little different, the view. This is 2019. Okay, so click on this insert function. Okay, and here actually you're going to see the type of frequently used type of functions that you have. Okay, so if is like logical ones, find, search are text related, sum, average, count, max, these are all number related. Okay, so let's try to use sum now. So I select sum, I click on OK. Okay, so it is asking what do you want to add? What are the things that you want to add, right? So here when you're on this first number, what you can do is you can basically select one cell or a range of cells. So I selected this thing. So it is saying E2. So yesterday we saw, right? E2 means this column and this row, right? But I don't want to add only one cell. I want to add a lot of them, right? So what I do is I select all of these. I'll keep selecting till this place, right? Okay, so it is saying now in the formula bar, if you see here on top, sum of E2 colon E29. That means starting from E2 until E29, it is going to take all the data and sum it up. Okay. And I say okay here. So it has added all of these now. Okay. So you can see things in blue, green, etc. whenever you are typing formulas. Okay. So things which are basically reference. So E2 and E29 are reference to those cells, right? So those appear in blue color. So you'll also see things in green and other colors as you have larger formulas. Okay. So if you're having a lot of parentheses and all, you will see different colors coming up. But mostly references are all showed in blue color. Okay. So now if I just click enter, it has added all of these. Okay. So this is basically how you select a set of cells and add them. Okay. And you can do it on rows or columns, whichever way you want. So for example, I'll show you here. So I say equal to sum of, okay, So I'll say all of these and enter. Okay, so what I did is I just selected these and I did enter and it shows me the total of these. Okay, so whenever you are doing these, if you know the range of cells, it is easy to select. Okay, but if you are trying to do like a full column or a full row, that also you can do. Okay, so for example, I'll show in a different place. Okay, there is one more thing which I didn't show. So on a particular column, for example, I don't want to see it right now, right? You can just right click and do a hide. That will basically just hide it from my view. It will not delete or do anything. It is just hidden. So whenever I go here and I get this parallel lines thing and I move, I can see it again. Or I can just click and say unhide also, it will come. Okay. So here say I want to do sum of this entire column. Okay. This whole thing. So now it will say C colon C. That means it is going to add everything inside it. Ideally, I shouldn't do it because I already have a sum inside. Let me show you on a different sheet. Okay, so say I do sum of this whole A. Okay, I'll show you again. So say for example, you know that this particular thing has some numbers, say prices of something, or something like that, and you want to just add them up. So one way to represent sums is below those rows. Okay, but when you're doing something like that, if you are if you keep on adding more rows, it is going to basically push your sum below. But another way is if you have a lot of data, it is always better to have full column to be added and displayed separately. So for in this case, like for example, I say equal to sum of A. I just selected the whole column. That means it is going to give me sum of everything that is there in that particular column. Okay. So now it is 470, right? Say for example, I just add more. So you can see the sum is automatically expanding. So here in this case, if you had selected only like this, so for example, if I'm doing only these many rows, right? Then it is not going to add up anything below if I keep adding. So based on your requirement, you can either do like full columns or full rows, or you can only do few rows. So in that case, you have to give the selection. So I'm saying here 1 to 13, right? So on this, I can always edit. I can say instead of 1 to 13, say I want to do, so I'm just doing a backspace on this. Okay. I say do until 20. I've selected until 20 and close the parenthesis and enter. Okay. So you can use mouse or you can use Control Shift to select the row cells with your cursors. With your cursor keys, you can do Control Shift and select the cells that you want to be added. Either ways you can do. Okay. So this is one way where you say entire row or entire column to be added. So say same thing you can even do like this. Okay. So say I have a lot of numbers in one row and I want to add them. Okay. So I'll say sum of this whole row. So it is saying 1 to 1. Okay. So you can apply this type of formula on an entire cell, entire row, or an entire column, or a combination of cells. Okay. Let me go back to this. So say I have all these numbers here. Okay. So I have put up some sums. So I've done like a sum here of 1 to 29. So yesterday we had seen this fill up, right? Filling up of the rows or the adjacent cells when you drag it. So here, for example, I have already added one formula, which is the sum of some cells in the column, right? So I want to repeat this. I want to have a similar formula in these two also. So what I can do is I just hold this the same way we did yesterday for the dates and all. Whenever you get this square thing in the bottom, you hold it and drag. Okay. So now it has filled up formula on its own based on what I gave here. So here, if you see, it is C1 to C29. So let's see what it has done here. So if I go to this, it is D1 to D29. So what it has done is it understood that I want to do a similar thing on a different column. Instead of C, it is D. Same way here, if I see, it is E1 to E29. Okay, so it has assumed or it has understood that I am actually trying to add the same set of cells on a different column. So it has actually automatically filled up the formula for me. Okay, so this is a way which you can again do it on rows and columns. Either way it works. Okay, so typically if you have added columns, it will just try to change the column name. If you have added rows, it will try to change the row name. Okay, and okay, let me show you this. So here we have done something within the sheet, right? So yesterday we understood that there are multiple worksheets. So here I have done some type of addition within the worksheet. I can even do it outside. Okay. So for example, let me show you here. Okay. I'll show you what I've already done. So total design hours, okay, is something I wrote, and what I've done. Okay, let me create it and show you actually. So I say equal to sum of, and instead of selecting anything in this sheet, what I do is I actually click on this estimation sheet. Okay, and I say all of these until 29, and I close the parenthesis and I enter and I click enter. Okay. Yeah. So what it has done is, now if you see in the formula, it says estimation exclamation C2 to C29. That means in the sheet called estimation, you go to cells from C2 to C29 and then do a sum of all those. Okay. So this way you can actually access any worksheets that are there in your workbook and do any formula on them. Okay. So similarly, I have done something here. We'll come to this. I've done something here. Okay. So these are all basically on this particular data, but I have actually represented it in a different sheet. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the next thing that I'll show you is how to override this autofilling. Okay. So for example, I don't want this to actually assume that I'm changing my row or cell numbers the way it did, right? So for example, I want to calculate number of man weeks for all of these, for which I need to divide with a particular number, this particular number. Okay. And that number is different for each. So what I did is I have created some other lookup here. Okay. Lookup is basically where you are telling it to refer some other data. Okay. So there is a concept of lookup in Excel. This is not that, but I'm just telling you that, say these are the numbers I want to use. Okay. So there is a 34, 38, 27, and I want to divide these by each of these numbers. Okay. So there is one way that I can say equal to this by 32. If I say that, that means it is dividing normal division of this number by number 32. Okay. But I want it to be something that can change. So this is 34 today, tomorrow it might become 33. You don't know. So then you keep it separately. Okay. And here what I am doing is I have said Okay, let me actually show you. I say this one divided by, now I go to that other sheet and I select this particular cell, okay, and I enter. Okay, so it has become 78 here. But now if I drag this 78 the way we were doing, what happens is it has actually changed, right? From K3 it has become L3, and then from L3 it has become M3. So it actually assumed that from here formula you can actually edit. So when you get that K3, go here and I selected this, right? So I go here and I can actually change it to, I can put a symbol of dollar. Okay, I'll show you here what I've done. So here if you see, I've put a dollar here and a dollar here. That means whenever I'm trying to drag and do an autofill, don't change these values. Keep it as it is. Okay. Do not change the K and the 5. So that means irrespective of how many times I actually move this or drag like this, it is not going to change any number. So say these two are not there. Okay. So here when I dragged, it has become okay. I already put a dollar here, I think. Yeah. So I have put a dollar here. So it has become $3. That means don't change the 3, change only K to L to M, right? So here I have put $K, $5 means don't change the column or the row. Okay, keep the cell as it is. So how many ever times I drag it, it is not going to change anything. So here if you see, it is still K5. Here also it is K5. Okay. The same way, I can show you again. Okay. So I selected this, for example, and I'm dragging. So it has assumed L and 3. So for example, I have, instead of in this model, right, I have them in the horizontal vertical model. So say I have like this. Okay. So here actually they are different rows, and here actually they are different columns. In that case, let's see what will happen. Okay. So I have put K3. So I say select this by this number. Okay. And my assumption is that those two numbers will come here. Let's see what will happen if I drag like this. What did it do? It has done P3 and Q3, which is not correct, right? I instead wanted O3 and then O4 and O5. So how do I control that? So here I go here and I put a dollar before the 3. Let's see what will happen. Okay, put a dollar before 3 and I am dragging it. It has done P3, which was okay. It has to be O3, O4, right? Sorry. Yeah. So it has to be the other way around. It has to be a dollar here. Okay. So now it has done divided by O3. Didn't change. This is O4 and O5, right? So let me put a dollar here. Okay, it is still not changing. Let's see. Oh, 4. P4, Q4, why it is not updating? Okay, sorry. I did a mistake. 1 second. O3 it was, right? Okay. I think it is still taking O3 only. Okay. So maybe I'm putting dollar in the wrong place, but yeah. So basically, if you want to control not changing the rows or columns, you have to put a dollar sign. So for example, like how I did here. So I put a dollar in both places before the row and column. Then it will always keep it constant. So here also it is taking the same number, this 40 only. Okay. So anytime you want to control auto filling, you basically have to use the dollar signs to make it change or not change the values, like the row numbers or the column names. Okay. So let me also show you if. Okay. So like I said, right, there are different types of formulas that you can, in the toolbar, if you see, there is also a formulas tab. Okay. So here also actually you can see the list of all types of formula that are available. Okay. So there are like thousands of formula available. So we'll cover just like top 3 or 4 which are frequently used. Okay. So here there is a formula of if. Okay. So for example, I want to say if this particular number, which is F2, is higher than a particular value, because these are numbers, right? So if it is more than 200, I want it to be displayed as S. Otherwise, I want it to be displayed as no. Okay. So for whenever you are again doing this, the best way whenever you are beginning is click on this insert function. And here you can see there is something called logical test. So here you have to give any condition. So for example, this particular number is more than this or less than this, whichever you want to do. Okay. And if this thing is true, that means if it is actually more than 200, what should be the value appearing? If not, if that is false, then what should be the value appearing? Okay. So if this particular value is more than 200, I want yes to be displayed. Otherwise, I want no to be displayed. Okay. So this is how we are doing the if function. So if here, okay, I say if, say this number is less than 50, say yes. It's not visible, I think. No, 1 second. Let me just hide them. Okay. So here I say if this number is greater than 50, okay, then I say, or I can say high, anything you can give here. Okay. Or I say low. So this text is up to you. You can put anything. So it is saying low. So here again, if I drag and fill up, okay, so it is automatically updating again the cell name C. So here it is C2, here it is C3. Like that, it keeps on changing. Okay. So you can do this on any numeric values typically. So instead of only greater, you can put a less than or any kind of condition that you want to check. Okay. And I'll show you one more which is string based. Okay. So for example, second. Okay. So here I have said, so whenever you are, one more thing that you should remember is, whenever you are trying to do formula, always build from inside out. So for example, I have something like, I want it to be displayed as true if it is, if this number is more than 100 and this number is less than 20 and this number is greater than 200, as an example. Okay. Then you start making these equations first and then make the outside formula. Okay. So for example, here I have multiple things, right? So I'll show you only one condition. So here, this is an or instead of if, it is an or statement where I say if B2s, which is this, right? The blue one, the green one, which is highlighted now, if this complexity is marked as H and or this particular thing is marked as Y, then you give me true. Okay. So anything, anytime you do and or here, you will get a true or false like this. So I'm not actually typing as true or false here. If you see in the formula, it is basically giving me a result of that condition as true or false on its own. On this, I can build more. Okay. So I can make like separate formulas for each of these, and then I can make a formula using all those formulas again. So don't try to start doing the whole thing at once. Okay. So break down the formula that you want to do and start from the simplest things and then build it upwards. Okay. So for example, here I have done only an or, right? So here what I have done is I have actually used an or and then I have put a yes or no. Okay. So I'm saying if F2 is more than 300, which is this one, okay, and it is less than 100, then I want it to be yes, otherwise I want it to be no. So I'm saying it is either too high or too low. Okay. So here also again you can actually do a drag. It is going to automatically update. So I have F2 only used here. So F2 becomes F3 like that. Okay. So you can actually build any number of layers like this and create longer formulae. But always start with small. So don't try to make a very large formula at the beginning itself. So if you have to use multiple cells, take smaller ones to figure out what the formula should be and then try to make a bigger one which is using all those formulae again. If you want, you can actually create like this separately and then say use these and then make something else. Okay. At the beginning when you're still learning formulas, try it that way. Later, once you're comfortable, you will be able to actually type the whole thing on your own. Okay. So whenever you want, say for example, I take a if, right? So when I'm doing on this category, you can actually, so like I said, right, you can use from this or you can actually do from here also. This is a like a window, small window you get where you can type in the formula. Okay. Any questions on this so far?
No, ma'am, not at the moment. So
Okay.
far, so good.
Okay. So let me also show you a count if, okay. Okay. We have like 15 minutes, right? Okay. Let's do a small chart also so that we can cover at least little bit of the topic. Yeah. So here you have a set of data, right, which is like okay, yeah, so there is a list of countries with some say COVID data available. Okay, and I want to display it as a chart. So I think all of you would have seen like a lot of charts last year of COVID cases, right? So say I want to create a chart of all this data. Okay, so I can select all this. Okay, and on the top on your toolbar, right, if you go to insert, there is something called charts. Okay, so again in charts there are many varieties, but the typical one that you will use is this, which is a column or a bar chart. Okay, so that is something which looks like this. Okay, so again chart also you can insert in the same place, in the same worksheet or in a different worksheet, anywhere you can do. So say I create a new worksheet. Okay, and I go and say insert a chart, a 2D chart. Okay, and so now it is blank. Like you can either select data first and then insert chart, or you can insert a chart and then select data. Okay, so I say let me do it that way. 1 second. Yeah, okay, I'll select this and I say insert a 2D chart. Okay, I'll show you here so it is easy to see. Okay, so on the chart again you can do a lot of things like changing colors, formatting and all. We'll not get into the details there. Okay, but so here you can see that it has created an x-axis and a y-axis, and it has actually plotted all the data for you. So total cases, whatever columns we had, right, B, C, D, E, all of them have appeared here. So how do I change anything in this? Okay, so on this particular chart control, when you click this, you will see these three symbols. Okay, so if you click on filter, you can actually see which are the things. So this is all the country data, and these are the actual data elements, right? So I can say I don't want deaths and critical. Okay, I only want total cases, recovered and active. So I just say I'll select these three and I click on apply. Okay, so it has changed now. So it is only displaying 3 sets of data for me instead of all of them. Okay, and the same way, you can even change the things that are appearing here. Okay, so for example, it is having x-axis and y-axis. So there is something called axis titles. So wherein you can actually add a title here. So I'll say country here. Okay, and I'll say number of people. And even you can even move these. Okay, so these are like text boxes that you can move. You can even do formatting on these and all. So again, there is something called chart title, right? So I can actually edit and put whatever data I want. Okay, so on this again, so there are a lot of formattings like UI designing things that you can do. Okay, so grid lines, so you can see like horizontal lines, right? So 30,000, 25. So this it figures out on its own based on the data that you have. So on an average, it has to show until 30,000 range. So it actually figures out and plots on its own. Okay, so grid lines, if you remove, uncheck, so you will not see those lines anymore. It's always good to have grid lines. Okay, and even these data labels, if you put, you can see a preview. So it is going to show you actually what is the number that was there. This again is cumbersome on this type of chart. Okay, and you can even have a table like this, which is going to show you the same data again in the chart. Okay, and I'll show you one more, which is a pie chart. Okay, So this is the most frequently used. So on these again, you can do differently. So like this. So these are all just UI, like what type of, how you want it to look. It's only look and feel changes. Okay. So say I want to create a pie chart. Okay. So I go to charts here again and I select this round thing. Okay. So typically the ones you will use is either this column or a bar graph. So bar graph is 2D column or a 3D column. Either of these. So you can do it like a horizontal one. So you can easily see the preview here, right? So you can do this way or you can do this way also. And the most frequently used other one is a pie. Okay. So okay. So I have say, so for the pie chart, if you're doing, it is basically representing parts of a larger chunk, right? So say, imagine this is entire world's data. Okay. So I pick this much, which is just total cases, and I'm selecting a pie chart like this. Okay. So here I can see what is the approximate part of the entire data from each country, right? Again, I can do a filter here. It will show me that all countries are there. Say I don't want all countries. I only want to pick and choose some countries. So I click those and I say apply. So it is basically showing me against that much data, how much each of them are holding. Okay. So here again, you can change data labels. If I put, it is showing me actually what is the number that each of them are contributing within that pie. Okay, if I hide, you basically just see the area approximately, but if you put a label, you can actually see the amount, the actual numbers also. Okay, so again here also it has automatically taken this total cases from this heading. Okay, if you want, you can change it worldwide like that. Okay. So again, even in after creating the chart or the pie diagram, any whatever you're doing also, you can actually change. So it can be like this. This is all again look and feel, the type of look and feel you want. You can even change specific colors, like now it is showing me multiple colors, right? You can make it single color with changing shades. Okay, so that way, or like this, dark to light, light to dark, all those you can do. And you can also do this change chart type. So now I created a pie, but I want to change it to something else, right? So instead of pie, I say make it a line or a scatter or a bar diagram. Okay, so now it will become like this. Okay, so it's not that once you have created chart, you can't change it. Okay. There will be some differences again in this if you're using 2010, some limitations. So these types of designs and all will be lesser in the older versions. But there also you can actually change the type of chart once you have created also. So you can even move these controls, colors, all that also you can change. Okay. Any questions on this?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. So while creating, you can even do like only few. So for example, I have selected like this, right? I have selected cells like this. You can even do row column wise. So I can just say entire all these 3 columns and I go to insert and insert a chart. Okay. So if you're adding more data to it, it will automatically update here. So for example, say this 139 has become 0. Okay, so you can actually see it somewhere changing. me change something bigger one. So I'll remove deaths. Only total cases are there. So you can even change which one you want to have as a row, as an x-axis and a y-axis. Okay, so that also you can change. So for example, if I click this right on filter, see I said select data, you can actually move like this. So I don't want this on this data range now. I say select only these two. Okay, so total cases is here and all the countries have come here. So you can even make it as the other way around. If you want, you put the switch row to column. Okay, if you do this, it is basically moved x-axis into y and y into x like this. Okay. Okay, so we have about 2 minutes. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to cover actually. Okay, so I'll just show you one more count. I don't know if I did a count if here. Yeah, so here we added these there is one more column that we added, right, with the if and or. So for example, instead of I have a count like this, but I want to have a count of how many y's are there. So one way is I said like filter, you can do and see how many are there, but I want to actually store how many have come, right? So you can say count if that particular cell, if it is true, only then you tell me the count. So for example, this particular cell, okay, and if the value of it is true, then you add all of them, not H2, sorry. Count will be on the whole column, so it will be on this whole column if the value is true. So count is among all of them, you are going to count, right? Okay, so basically what it is saying is, out of these true false whatever are there are 19 cells which are actually marked as true. So that is a count if. Same way you can do a sum if, you can do a min, max, average. All these are most commonly frequently used ones, addition wise. Okay, and string wise, okay, so this is also a count if. So count, when you're doing, you can do a range of cells like this. I did a B2 to B9, or you can actually do an entire column or an entire row, because count is on a particular range, a lot of cells. On a lot of cells, you're going to do it. Okay. Okay, it's almost 6 o'clock. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, so Excel is basically very wide. We can do, I mean, usually it will take like a couple of weeks if we have to do full training. So I've tried to cover most of the basic things that you require. Okay. Let me just cover one more small thing. Yeah. Okay. So while you are typing any text, right? So whenever you're typing, basically what it does is, like I was showing yesterday, right? It will go and spread it across all these cells. So right now, if you see, it is actually in all these, in C and D, it is visibly, it is there in all these cells only, even though it is actually in C15. So if you go to home, so in this formatting area, right, there are two options called wrap text. So if you do this, what it does is it will basically resize the cell, kind of the size of the cell. It will adjust and make the data appear, the text appear within that cell like this. Okay, so previously it was like this. When I did a wrap text, it has actually got it into one cell. So that is one way. And another way is there's an option called merge and center. So right now, the text is there on C, D, and E, all of these, right? So for example, typically we do it for headings. Okay, so I want this to be a heading. So what I do is I select all these cells. Say I want it to be spread from here to here. I select all of it and I click this merge and center. So what it will do is it has actually merged all these cells into one. Okay, so typically when you have headings and all, we do like this. If I have it, I probably removed. Okay, so any main headings if you have on top, you can use this option of merge and center, where you might have a lengthy heading. If you click this, basically it will merge all those cells together and show you the text properly. Okay. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Hope this was useful. So please give us feedback in case any of you are interested to learn more on Excel or any other topics if you want us to cover in future.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, you can always write to our email ID. You all must have received the email, right, with the Zoom details. So you can just reply on it and give your feedback. Okay. And any other courses that you want to do, say PowerPoint, or we actually have a lot of courses coming up. Aditya, you want to just give a brief? So we have aptitude reasoning coming up, and basic English communication skills, advanced communication skills on English, which will help you to prepare for interviews and all. Okay, so all these are things which are planning for